What's going on, Miguel, host of Life Full Circle Radio. It is, what's today? 11th of August. We usually don't put due dates when we do lives because you want people to, whatever. You'll know by the fact of what we're talking about. So today's the day, and it's so crazy because Donald Trump will make announcements and the next day it'll be a lie. He said yesterday he was going to take over D.C., and from my folks in D.C., it's true. He's got, I've heard numbers ranging between 800 to thousands of National Guard troops that are on the ground. And so, as you mentioned, Trump is taking over D.C. And so we're going to talk about that pretty extensively. We're going to talk about California, and Governor Newsom is basically saying that, hey, Texas, we're going to one-up you. We do represent 40 million people, so we do have more seats in the House of Representatives than you. So if you want to play that game, here we go. It's crazy for our democracy, but it is where we are right now. Texas Dems are on the run because I still don't quite understand that fully. I'll be fully transparent on that. They're trying to issue warrants or whatever about them folks leaving the state so they wouldn't have a quorum. I've sat on enough boards and been involved in enough organizations about it. I understand that part. You can't vote if you don't have a quorum, and so you can't enact anything if you don't have a quorum, and that's what they're fighting for. Ignore the Jacksonville man beaten by JSO. That's last week, and I didn't change it. But there is something going on in Orlando, Florida, where the mayor of Orlando is basically signing up to let ICE come into town because the governor of Florida said he's going to remove him as mayor of Orlando if he don't. Ari Lennox, the R&B artist, is bringing up Martin, 30-year-old sitcom, and saying that it was colorist, and that he was talking about dark-skinned girls. And I watched Martin and been a fan of Martin, the show, forever. Never felt like that was an issue, but you know, folks gotta always be mad at something or somebody. All right, so make sure you follow us in these social media streets. Come on, social media. There you go. For some reason today, well, I know part of the reason, I suspect, somebody tried to hack my Facebook account yesterday, and so I tried to go live on Facebook and it wouldn't let me, so now I need to go back in and figure out what that is. Super producer!
What's up? Happy Monday. Happy first day back to school, those who celebrate.
Where's your hair?
So yeah, I had like this weird existential crisis and decided to cut it off. So have you ever watched the YouTube channel called Crew Cuts, where the guy in Trinidad and Tobago makes the women feel alive by cutting their hair off, and like they get these really cool haircuts? So I thought that was gonna happen to me.
You gonna let me answer the question? Let me answer the question. No,
sure,
because I'm not a woman, and we don't watch the same stuff on YouTube. You watch stuff that I don't watch. So go ahead, tell your story.
I thought it was going to come out differently, and instead I kind of look cute, kind of look weird, kind of look like Frederick Douglass, kind of look like a lot of things.
I don't know where the Frederick Douglass reference comes in.
There's a lot going on.
I don't know where the Frederick Douglass goes. It looks fine. You know, I'm team natural over here. Everybody, all the women in my life over here are natural, so rock with it. And it's so crazy, like going back, and no knock to my sisters who still get their perms and all that. But I just don't see it the same way anymore. My wife has been locked for 6-7 years. My two younger daughters have been locked for about 4 or 5 years. I love their locks. My oldest daughter, she is all natural. She say, I ain't never getting it locked. Okay, whatever. That's fine. You're a grown woman. Do what you want. But I'm cool. I'm team natural. Let's go. Let's rock. Let's go. It's all good.
I will say, this is a lot easier to deal with. It is taking some time to get used to, again, because I've had hair for so long. I've had braids, I've had wigs, and now I'm just like, it's almost like you're very vulnerable out to the world. Like, hey, this is your face. So it's a little much to get used to, but it's easier to deal with. Like,
and that's just it. You know, I'm team natural, man. You know, and don't get me wrong, I don't have no problem with women wearing makeup. You know, all that. I'm this ain't the Handmaid's Tales over here. You know, y'all do what you do. Yeah, that's a whole different conversation. I'm sure we might get into today. But you're right. When your hair is natural, it's you. The face is you. They're gonna see everything, and whatever it is what it is, and it makes women take better care of their skin, and you know, and stop worrying about the aesthetic of trying to hide it behind a bunch of fake hair. But that's not what we're here to talk about today. Before I get all comments and people jumping on my neck. So, Washington, D.C., the home of go-go, the home of Chuck Brown, the home of our country, and the capital of the United States. Capital with an O, not capital with an A, like our president put in his well, somebody calls it Timu Twitter, right? So it's one of the social media people I follow. They call what's his True Social? They
Oh,
call it
True Social.
they call it Timu Twitter. So on his True Social account, he talked about taking over the Capitol, and he spelled Capitol with an A, and folks were just like, anyway. But he has the power to go about doing that, and he has done it. And this mess is wild.
Yeah, it's definitely wild. I'm gonna have a little bit of a blurry screen right now because I'm pulling up the hill. But President Trump announced today that he was taking control of the District of Columbia's police and deploying the National Guard. Trump portrayed the moves, which will involve over 800 National Guard troops as a response to high crime rates in the nation's capital. We'll go over these crime rates. He said it was an attempt to rescue the district from bloodshed, bedlam, and squalor. This is not 1864 New York. This is not the gangs of New York. This is
And this
not
is not
mob.
1985. This is not 1985 DC.
Exactly. That's a perfect.
Right.
Exactly. It's not 1985 where there was no nice areas of New York. Everything was crime ridden. There was like maybe Fifth Avenue, and that was it. I mean, reporters were packed in the White House briefing room, received handouts just before the president spoke, where the district's numbers rate were shown as higher than those of other international cities, including Delhi, London, and Bogota, Colombia. Bogota, Colombia, the cocaine capital of the world. DC has a higher crime rate. So let's talk about
Hold on. You're
actual.
saying DC has a higher crime rate?
No, they're saying that Bogota,
Oh, okay.
Colombia, is safer than DC.
Who's
Policy
saying that?
statistics that DC is safer than Bogota. Everybody.
No, I thought you were saying that Columbia is safer than DC. Okay, I misheard you. I'm sorry, I'm over here
Oh,
tweeting.
no. That is what Trump is saying. Sorry, let me rephrase that. Trump
Okay.
is saying that Delhi, London, and Bogota, Colombia are safer than DC. Whatever. But the police statistics, however, show that crime rates in the district have fallen sharply over the past 2 years. Violent crime is down 26% when compared to year to date against 2024. Last year, in turn, saw a 32% drop in homicides and a 35% drop in overall violent crime compared to 2023. So let's go deeper into this. What is up in DC is petty theft and property crimes. So people breaking into cars is up. People stealing from stores is up. People from stealing from grocery stores is up. These types of crime, but actual violent crime, the bedlam that he is talking about
Right.
is down, all time down.
Yeah, yes, it's down. It's absolutely down. And you look at this stuff and you listen to Trump and this stuff. It's really, we talked about this when he talked about Gaza. We talked about this. In addition to a control play, it is a real estate play, because when he talked about, and there's slums and we're gonna move them out of the slums in DC, and this is where they live. Who they? The they
But
you're
even
talking
funnier,
about?
who is they at this point? Who is they at this point? Because think about it. You and I both know this. And I
The
told
thing
you
is
this a
black
while ago
folk.
when I went.
They
But
want to
no.
move. We want to move black and poor people out of DC. But go ahead.
But it can't be black and brown people anymore in DC, because DC has been extremely gentrified. And we talked about this when I went back to my grandmother's house, and like old white people were living in. I was like, why are you here? Like the neighborhoods that used to be all black, that were close to the White House, close to downtown, those neighborhoods are no longer white. I mean, no longer black. They're white
Right.
neighborhoods. So
Right.
what is he actually gentrifying further than what's already been gentrified? There are very few black
They
people
want to
who live in
move.
Metro.
DC is an area, is not a large city.
It is not.
Area,
No.
it's not a large city. You're talking about some 60 something square miles. It's not. You can go from, if you drive into DC from Virginia, even with traffic, you can go from Virginia through DCF 14th Street to Maryland in less than 35 to 40 minutes.
Absolutely.
And that's
Absolutely.
with traffic. It's with
Yes.
traffic. And so when I think about, if you are that nefarious, if you are willing to put out AI video of people of Gaza being turned into a resort town, what do you think he's willing to do with Washington, D.C., which in the last 25 to 30 years has gone from about 70% African American down to about 45% now? And so
It's a
Go ahead.
weird thing to lie about to me, only because it's not like some cities get so bad with violence that they really can only do certain things, and I'm thinking about Detroit, you think about I'm trying to think of other cities where they get so violent and the crime's so up, like, they don't do anything in Mississippi, Alabama, Tulsa, Oklahoma. They always be on first 48. DC is not one of those cities. They just had the Delta's conference there. That was fine. They have several events there all the time. You don't have multiple members of these organizations say, "Oh, I got robbed," or "Oh, there was this homeless person," "Oh, there was this and that." It's not like that. Again, my
No.
father, born and raised in DC, his family still lives there. They no longer live in Metro DC like they used to. They all used to live on Independence Avenue. Now they all live in
Mm-hmm.
Upper Marlboro and those areas or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. But
Mm-hmm.
I never hear about them saying, "Oh, it's so violent," or "We don't go into the city because it's this and that." They mainly say they don't go into the city because they're tired of seeing protesters. That's why they don't even bother going into the city, because they don't want to
Right.
see it. They don't want to be bothered. My
Well,
brother's
there's a couple.
niece.
I was just in DC last spring, and
Mhm.
when I was there, yeah, you got to realize I grew up in DC in the 1980s, where right now the same block that's got a Target and a Starbucks and a Krispy Kreme and a Best Buy was a pile of rubble. Not figuratively. It was literally
Seriously.
a pile of rubble that we would go play with rocks and glass. And that was the community that I lived in. Fast forward to this spring when I lost my brother and my family rented an Airbnb in DC. I look at the address and I'm like, this is 3 blocks from where I grew up. I literally took my family and a baby in a stroller, walked down 14th Street to my old
Safely.
neighborhood like a tourist and said, look, that's where I used to live. This is the place that this man says is crime ridden, and it's like he's Batman and he's trying to save the people. And you're talking about picking up homeless people and moving them where? There's talk about him setting up internment camps in places outside of the city where they will keep them engulfed and trapped and put them in an area. And it's like the Hunger Games. It's like all
Here's the
this
part
stuff we
that
saw for years is coming to fruition. Go ahead.
Here's the part that I don't understand that I feel like would be a better plan. And again, this is just again my Republican brain is kicking on right now. I'm so sorry about this, but there's all these homeless people everywhere. You have these farmland that needs to get farmed. These people need to get paid.
Don't
All
do
these
it. Don't do
farmlands
it.
have homes and houses and
Go ahead.
what?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
All these homes and houses that are on this farmland that people can live in safely, comfortably, work, get paid, figure things out, get back on their feet because no regular job wants to hire them because America sucks. So why isn't that the plan? Why is the plan to put them in jail, to put them in an internment camp? Why is that the plan rather than
You
my
do know
plan?
that you're
Both
describing
plans
indentured
suck.
servitude, right?
It's not indentured servitude.
Tell me how it's
It's
not
not.
indentured
No, no, no,
servitude.
no, no. It's not indentured servitude if it's an option. You can stay on the streets if you want to. You can
But
go work
staying on the
here.
streets is he's telling them staying on the streets is not an option. We're moving you. You're getting out of the city.
So the
And you
better
go
option is to
and we're
put
going
them in an
now I want you to follow the logic. He's telling them we're moving you out of the city and you're going to go where we tell you you're going to go. And we're going to put you somewhere and we're going to house you and we're going to take care of you. That sounds like prison.
It
If
is
these people can,
prison.
okay. And so now you're saying, in addition to that, let's take them somewhere close to a farmland and let them farm the land because they done snatched up all the immigrants who were farming the land and they've put them in another indentured servitude,
No, they put them in
alligator
jail.
Alcatraz or huh?
Jail. They put them
Yeah.
in jail.
Okay.
Jail.
Okay. So you've taken those people. Now you have to replace those people. The recommendation that you're suggesting, your Republican brain is saying to you, take them somewhere and let them work on farms for pennies.
Well, not necessarily pennies, because that's not what it's not necessarily pennies. It's also give them housing. You everything is stipulations for the homeless. You got to do this. You got to do that. You can't be married to a man and have a man because you can't go into this certain shelter. Why not have these whole families go where they can be together, have their own safe environment and work rather than either separating them, putting all these rules on them, or putting them in jail. If my version is the last option available, I feel like my version is better than what they're trying to propose. Personally, maybe I'm messed up. Maybe
I
my
think
Republican friends.
I don't. It sounds to me you're proposing the same thing that they're proposing. You just make it sound better.
How's it the same thing?
If we're talking about picking these people up wherever we decide, first of all, the whole situation sucks. Unhoused
Yes.
people and the situation that they're in is terrible, right? You know, a couple of weeks back, I came back after all the traveling and I wasn't feeling well. So I quarantined myself for a few days, just wasn't feeling well. And so I watched an old episode of The Wire. And I don't know if you remember, I don't remember if you watched The Wire or not, but
Too violent.
okay. So there was a part of The Wire where in one season where they set up an area that they basically called, I forgot what they called it, but it was a safe place for the drug dealers to deal drugs. As long as they stayed in this particular area, the police would let them do it. As long as they didn't deal throughout the entire city of Baltimore, they can deal in this one area. And so, of course, that ended up being a huge issue, and the cop who did it, but the point is that the reason why I bring that up is that where do you move folks who are in these situations? Because nobody wants them where they are, right? Now in the city of Atlanta, we have homeless shelters, and homelessness is still a huge problem. Homelessness is anywhere that there's a lot of people.
It's a huge problem in every city.
It's a huge problem everywhere, right? And so you look at it and you say, but his thing is the slums. There are slums. We're going to move them out of these slums, and we're coming for you. And where are you going to take them? Because are you going to take all these homeless people outside the city of Atlanta? Are you going to take them to Virginia and put them, as you say, in a community? Well, that community is going to be like, don't bring them here, right? But then once you bring them there, then you got to keep them contained, which is imprisoning them for no crime.
And see, that's why I don't want to keep them contained. That's why I think like farmland where they don't necessarily be contained, where they can have access to whatever they want. It will take concessions from the farmers to be like, hey, if they're going to come here and work, you may not want to pay them all the money in the world, but you should provide them medical. You should be having somebody to come out, check, and making sure they're safe and that they're good and they're healthy. The kids should be able, our parents are working, they're healthy, they're no longer in drugs or whatever issue they were having. They're good and they're no longer on, they're taking their meds for whatever psych issue they have. Okay, let's give them their kids back. I feel like if my method is they're working to gain themselves back, to get back what they lost in some kind of way that kind of helps everybody, and they can get their kids back, get their life back, get back on their feet, some have some kind of skill, rather than just putting them in jail. I feel like that improves zero things for their life and everybody in general.
So you are explaining how difficult this situation is.
Yes.
Because what you're saying is you pick them up and you take them to a community where the farmers are. The farmers, for the most part, are going to be communities that are Trump-supporting communities. Do you think that they're going to like Trump? Do you think Trump will make a decision to make people that voted for him who are his supporters piss them off?
Well, here's the thing. You farmers, and I can go into the next story. We'll move into another story. So there's actual deportation fallout that because there is no workforce, farmers are losing large portions of crops, portions of crops. And there's nothing they can do about it because I'm not about to subscribe, but the cherries are rotting on the trees in Ian Chandler's orchard. Branch after branch hangs heavy with fruit from Oregon farmer calls it mummified, dark, shoveled, unappetizing. These farmers are losing crops. Do you really think they're at a point where beggars can be choosers?
Oh, now you calling the farmers beggars?
The Trump supporting ones, absolutely. You voted for this. Okay, let's use another example. Like the guy who launched Trump Burger, who's now on his way on the first thing smoking to wherever country he's from. You all voted for this.
So here's the thing. Everything you're saying is absolutely true. And yes, they did vote for this. And yes, we are in the middle of a storm, right? Because everything that he seems to act like is very simple answers to, there are no simple answers to this stuff. They're not, right? And so if that was the case, people would have been moving folks out a long time ago. There's a comment here, and I'll be honest with you. Jews don't see kibbutz as indentured servitude. I don't know the history of, and I don't maybe butchering kibbutz as indentured servitude. Irish people are a better example as it relates to the British, but in this case, it's not people who are coming to America. They would have benefits. Marcus USA, thank you for your comment.
I will with the kibbutz, I will say what I do know about them, they look at that as part of their worship to God doing that. It's not it's a little bit different, but I that's why the Jewish don't feel that it's indentured servitude. They see it as a service to God and the community to do what they're doing, to harvest, to grow, to share, and all that kind of stuff. It's a service to God. If I'm thinking of the right thing. Do you know what a kibbutz is? Oh, your mic.
My mic
Your
is
mic
not
is
working.
gone.
Mic,
There you
mic,
go. It just
check,
came back in.
check 1 2 1 2. Interesting. So,
So a kibbutz is a unique style of collective communities, specifically found in Israel, built on principles of mutual aid, social justice, and community ownership. It's communism.
socialism.
Okay, cool. It's one of sure. Yes, it's that.
So, and that's the unique thing about America, right? All of this stuff is a part of this whole melting pot thing. When we were kids, we used to see these cartoons and stuff, and the melting pot and the dust bowls and all this stuff. And the current administration is flat out saying that none of that stuff worked. It did work. It put a lot of folks in the positions that they're in now. What you don't like is the fact that many people have come up out of those particular situations and have made something of themselves. And it's not always white folk who are having that level of success. And so they're going through this major reset. We're taking money from schools, and now the schools have to.
You're
My
going.
mic
You
is
just went.
muting on its own. I'll figure it out.
Oh wow.
So I think it's one of the scenes that's got it muted. So, when I deal with this stuff, I sit back and I say, there's so much that has been going on with us in this world, and these people are really trying to reset all of it. They're trying to take everything back 100 years. And the crazy thing about it is, people think I'm crazy when I say this, that there's a big real. I don't believe Trump makes any moves without there being a real estate play, without there being a land grab. And what they've been trying to get us to the point that we're coming back from the suburbs, and they're trying to bring people back to the city because of the traffic and because of the travel and because of the restaurants, because of the living and all of that. This man is spending $200 million on a ballroom at the White House because he doesn't feel like
the White House. Let's just take a step back on that.
Mm-hmm.
The White House has existed for hundreds of years. I say 100
Correct.
because it's more than 100 years. They've
Correct.
never needed a ballroom. The people who go into the White House are always been a selective group of people, dignitaries. You've always been whoever they wanted in the White House. You could fit in whatever room you have in the White House, and that's it. It's almost like he's going to continue to turn the White House into you buy a ticket, you spend $50,000 on a ticket, you can come in here. Correct. It ruins the exclusivity of what the White House is.
He doesn't care about what you think ruins anything.
He does it just like he ruined the garden. He ruined the Rose Garden. Did you see what he did?
Yeah,
it looks like a pool patio. It was like a pool patio at a tacky resort. Have you seen it? It's ugly. It's hideous.
Yes. Everything that we feel like is traditional and has worked, he's middle fingering it all. Like, I don't care about none of this stuff. I am Donald Trump. I'm going to try to change the name of the Kennedy Center after my wife,
who doesn't care and probably doesn't want it after her anyway. Like right. that Melania. You know what? Before I dive into my Melania tirade, I will say you mentioned about things going back 100 years.
Yeah.
One of the things that's going back 100 years is things like vaccinations. As simple and as dumb as that is, vaccinations. Thanks to John. What is it? Which Kennedy is he? Jake Kennedy.
He's actually Robert Kennedy. He's Robert Kennedy.
Kennedy.
Yeah.
Robert Kennedy Jr. is taking us back decades based on vaccinations, and it's so his rhetoric is so bad that there was actually a shooting at the CDC. Officials are still
Mm-hmm.
investigating the shooting at the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention headquarters in Atlanta, Georgia, that killed a black police officer,
Mm-hmm.
on August 8th. The suspect, Patrick Joseph White, 30, may have been disgruntled over vaccine side effects before perpetrating the shooting, according to multiple reports. This is where we are.
Here's the thing: we haven't done this show in 2 or 3 weeks for variances of reasons. There's so much craziness. The shooting at the NFL headquarters, where the guy walks into the NFL headquarters and he killed somebody there. We ain't even talked about that. There's so much stuff. People are so on edge right now and so angry walking around on a day-to-day basis. And you just never know what powder keg you might be lighting. And so when you had a situation in DC, you got people, somebody was jumping in my comments earlier today and talking about all the youngins in DC that will run up on you, put a gun in your mama's face and carjack her and this, that, and the third. I'm not saying that it hasn't happened. What I'm saying is that it's not as bad as he's making it out to be. Crime has always been when you get a large amount of people on top of each other, that brings criminal elements. That's just the reality of it.
And that's every major city.
That's every
Miami,
major city.
Dallas, LA.
Every major city. Atlanta, I've had one of my vehicles broken into here in Atlanta. I'll never forget going to a New Edition concert. I come out, I see the one car in front on the same road with mine. I'm like, oh man, dad, go on, man. They broke in your car, man. That's terrible. 2 cars down, they got into mine too. And you sit back.
Was anything in there?
Oh, I don't keep stuff in my car like that. For that very reason. You can replace a window. But when you start talking about computers and cameras and blah, 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 I'm not doing that. But the point is that unless you're going to go live on an island, go live away from the city, away from people, and live behind brick walls and all of that, there's a chance that when you go out in them their streets, something may pop off. But that's not just happening in the city now. You got people, Karens, walking up on people in Target parking lots talking crap. I saw a situation where, a video where a sister was sitting in a Walgreens drive-thru waiting for it to open up. And somebody decides, the person was in front of her, sat there for a minute, left, and then the girl stayed in line. And so the person decided to jump out the car like, so why are you staying in line? Because I'm waiting for the place to open. It doesn't open up at 2 o'clock. Okay, I'll be here at 2 o'clock. Why are you walking up on me? To the point that little conversation about standing in the line of Walgreens turned into old girl pulling out her blicky, like, get away from my car. And I'm sitting back like, we are in a powder keg of a society right now. And then the whole time she recording this stuff. You talk about pulling out your gun on somebody and you recording it.
Yeah, it's kind of stupid. I don't play with Karens. It's 2025. I'm one of those people who's quick to go off on you and then pretend like you pushed me and then fall on the floor in the Target parking lot and wait for the cops to come and say that you attacked me. Like that's why I'm at.
In that video, I was just talking about it was a transgender Karen.
Oh, and the transgender Karens are the worst. I hope you all can hear me. The transgender Karens, like the Lily Tinos of the world, we hate y'all. We can't stand y'all. Y'all ruin y'all own movement. You're stupid. You're dumb. And you don't pass. And it's always the transgender women who don't pass, who got the most to say.
That what set her off is that the person said, "Excuse me, sir," and she was like, "No, it's ma'am." Like I said, "Sir," is what the girl said, and that's what she went off. And that next thing you know, the blicky came out. I'm just like, we are in a powder keg. Then you need
to look up Lily Tino on TikTok, and you'll understand why a lot of women are like, hey.
So then you got the defense secretary. Defense secretary is out here posting a video of a pastor, and CBS News did a whole story behind this, where the pastor basically said, in the constituents of this church, who seemingly has a large following, quite a few churches have they've stood up around the country. Basically, people are saying, okay, if you and Omar should have the vote for your house. This is what these people believe. Omar should have the vote for your house. I should have the vote for my house. Tracy shouldn't have a vote. You shouldn't have a vote. It should be voted by household and not by individuals. And these people say that stuff with a straight face.
And did you watch the whole video of the pastor, the actual guy?
I did.
And the things he was saying, like, it doesn't take a lot of effort to give birth to a baby. Da, 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 da. You can't have it. Listen, Christian man, as a Christian woman, I understand. I am married to a very traditional Indian man who the expectations were set before me before we got married. There was no mixing words. He knew exactly how I was supposed to be as a wife. But he also understands that being at home and raising kids and all that kind of stuff, it's a lot of work. It doesn't just take some dumb woman to stay home and do it. It takes a lot of energy. So you can't say, oh, it's easy to, give birth to a child. It's no big deal. Anybody can do it. But now you want anybody to just raise your kids? Is that what that means? Just want anybody to raise your kids? Some dumb woman who you want them to be homeschooled. She's not smart to homeschool though, right? Like it doesn't make any sense.
It's none of this stuff makes sense. And you sit back and it all boils down to white men and the proximity to white men. Because sometimes there's a dude, a black dude that I saw on some, and he walked in Boston and he's walking on a pier in Boston, and to paraphrase, it's always wonderful. Of course he looks like Carlton. They look like they got a type, right? They got a type. Looks like Carlton from Fresh Prince. It's always, anytime there's peace and it's quiet, there's never black people. And he goes through this whole thing and he talks about this, and he's a black dude. He's darker than me, but he's got a type. And I said to myself, like, how do you look yourself in the mirror? Like, that's almost remind me of the old Dave Chappelle skit where the black blind dude was a Klansman. And you sit back and say, folks got to be looking at him. Huh?
Clayton Bigsby.
All right. And so I sit there and I watch this nonsense and I say to myself, how did we get here? But you know what? We probably always were here. It's just that with the advancements of social media, people have access to this type of stuff. So a couple conversations I got going on, and I know you read this. Let me know where you want to move on to. But conversations I see have been going that I've got going on my social media, where question was, let me pull it up real quick before we go to the next story as we transition. DC fan was my post with the federal government considering adding National Guard. Some news night. So one person says, I worked in DC, the metro area around the Navy Yard stretch, south of DC, unsafe, lockdown around the area constantly due to gunfire. The stuff going around Navy Yard, that ain't DC. That's Fed stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah. So there's that. Stacey Porter talks about how he lived in DC, and Stacey's a friend of mine, former a Secret Service agent, and so he's done a lot of work. There's one post in here, Tamika Chambers, lies, I'm here in person every day. Crime has not increased. This man is painting a false narrative to forward his sick agenda. Don't believe it. And I just, for people who live in DC, and my friends who live in DC, I just can't imagine, you trying to go to a restaurant and have dinner and you're seeing people in fatigues walking around with helmets on and long guns, and that's the new normal. It's
and the worst part is that a lot of those guys, actually not a lot of those guys, most of those National Guardsmen don't want to be there. They just don't have a choice. They all think just like when they got called out or they couldn't get, I forgot what it was, but there was another issue they got called out for and they were just like, what? Why are we here? Yeah. We can't say that, but look on our faces. We look like we have no idea why we're here, but we don't have a choice. And I know that's what you give up when you join the National Guard. When you join the National Guard, this is not what you expect to do. You expect to be helping during national disasters or something that happens on like a 9/11 or something like that, or a shooting, not this.
Well, but when you have someone like this as your president.
Oh, this press conference. Oh, one more thing. Let me back up really quick. I just want to say something. Mm-hmm. When it comes to promoting women shouldn't vote and women should stay home and women are the backbone of the family, Pete Hegseth is the last example we should be giving. He has abused multiple wives, cheated on 3 of the 4 of his wives. Like, how is he the cornerstone of Christian values when he's a dick who can't be faithful?
He's working for Donald Trump.
Who also is a penis who can't be faithful. Okay, cool. Right.
So all of that doesn't matter. There's another post I saw earlier where someone talked about white Christian nationalism are the ones who are destroying. They've destroyed this country. You know, and it's not like we didn't think that we really didn't think they could take it this far, but they have. And so now when we talk about so where's the silver lining? The silver lining is that this takeover right now is for 3 days in DC per statutes. It can be extended to up to 30 days if Congress signs off on it. This is all a show. We talked about this on the last show. This is distractions. All of this stuff is distractions. And I'll be the first one to say, and I've said it before, I don't give a damn about the Epstein files. I don't. The Epstein files are not going to get Trump out of office no faster. He ain't going to resign, and ain't going to call because I could give a damn.
We talked about this. It's not about him getting out of office faster. It's about getting his base away and having his base turn on him, which they have been, and he's been nasty to them too, like calling them stupid and ignorant. Like he's finally, because of the Epstein files. And I know you think it doesn't make a difference. Because of the Epstein file, he actually started losing his base. I mean, you know who turned on him? Who I never thought in a million years would turn on him? Marjorie Taylor Greene.
I don't give a damn about Marjorie Taylor Greene. I'm just telling you because it's 3.5 years before there is an election.
Yes.
The best case scenario, which we're going to talk about now, is in 2 years the House of Representatives is flipped. But oh, by the way, how is he going to defeat that? Go to Texas, tell them to give him 5 more seats to secure that space. And so now, so because that's the only thing that can slow him down. He doesn't care about his base anymore. He can't run again. You know, there's different ways that he's going to try to basically to declare martial law. So elections will not matter.
And I really hope that those 2 sons of him, those failed Aryan experiments, are not planning on running because
why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they?
Because they're disgusting.
They're not going to run next because right now they've already laid the groundwork. Peter Thiel is behind of J.D. Vance. And so Peter Thiel and his minions are going to be like, okay, all right, we gave y'all Trump. Now you give us our 40-year-old white nationalist Christian. He's going to be our next president. And do you believe those Trump supporters and those halfway Trump supporters won't be like, okay, he's not even somebody that they probably hate. They don't even know him. He just has Christian values.
I don't think they will. Not after how J.D. Vance, again, I know you keep thinking the Epstein file is not affecting people, but when J.D. Vance came out and said that there is no Epstein files, everybody's making a big deal out of nothing, and da-da-da-da, and people are like, are you serious right now?
Epstein, like, J.D. Vance is a complete flip-flopper. He was one of the... So I don't know.
Who also has turned against Trump, who wants to resign, and people are trying to talk. They're trying to talk him out of doing it. Dan Bongino,
right? Whatever.
Who's the assistant director of the FBI? It has come out multiple times. He won't even speak out anymore. He is not posting. He is not tweeting. He's not saying anything. That he is so pissed off about everything going on that Trump is doing, but he can't do anything.
It don't matter if he goes out the back door. You don't even remember the damn man's name. You know what I'm saying? Like, if he goes out the back door, let's think about Trump's cabinet from his last term. We don't even remember most of those people's names outside of the black surgeon, and I can't think of his name right now.
Who was the black surgeon? Oh, is the one who died? No, that was the other one who died. The pizza guy is the one who died.
He did not die.
The pizza guy died.
He has destroyed more legacies.
Oh God, yeah, I know.
Over the course of the last 10 years. On the Republican side, on the conservative side, right? And you look at it and say, if Bongino, I think his name is, if Bongino decides to go back and be a podcaster, that's his landing spot anyway. That's all of their landing spots. Sell books, go on TV, go on Fox. He's suing the Washington Post and Fox for $10 billion. He don't give a crap about no loyalty built. He feels like everybody has to be loyal to him, period, point blank. There's no question about it. You try to come up against me if you want.
Oh, wait, now they're trying to fire him. They're trying to fire Dan Bongino. They're calling it a purge of the FBI. Didn't y'all just do a purge?
When was that? What's the date on that?
Hold on. 23 hours ago.
Okay. All right. Bye, Bongino. You know, he didn't fire a woman for putting out a report. We didn't talk about that. Fired the woman from the Department of Labor Statistics because he didn't like the jobs number. Say, oh, you got to go.
And imagine your job is just math, and you do the math correctly, and now you don't have a job anymore.
No, 2 + 2 does not equal 4. Does not equal 4. You're out of here. You're fired.
We're just living in a very, very crazy place, and
we're not even 8 months into it.
Huh?
We're not even 8 months into this.
No, we're not even 8 months into it. And now, just to jump over this, because we definitely have to get into some fun conversation because I can't take it anymore. The tariffs are going into effect. And this is going to sound so elitist.
Is this the fun part? The fun part is the tariff conversation?
Right after this.
Can't wait.
Tariffs are going into effect. And even me and Omar, we make decent money.
Mm-hmm.
And we're now having to be like, yeah, this person can't come do the bugs anymore. We'll just do it ourselves. This person shouldn't come do this. We'll just come do it ourselves. Do the kids really need new shoes for school? No, not really. We'll just put the other shoes in the washing machine. Do they need 3 or 4 outfits? No, they don't. Oh, groceries, you can make them stretch. We can eat vegan or vegetarian for a couple of days and make groceries. That's where we are. And that's a weird place to be in when you're 2 people with good, decent jobs.
Correct.
We had to fire our pool guy today. That was very emotional for me.
So this is where we are. Where we are. And all of this is happening just to make some really, really, really wealthy people, really, really disgustingly wealthy people, more wealthy. And to grab some more land and to show that you guys really have no control. When you talk about all of the black women who have left the corporate America and all of that, it's just a lot. All right. Let's go. Keep it moving.
Let's go into HuhWhat. HuhWhat. Let's go into some fun conversation. I got a fun topic that you're going to appreciate. Let's talk. Where's my stuff? Do 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 do. Dude, what is happening?
What? I'm waiting on the HuhWhat. I thought you was pulling something up. Oh, I'm supposed to run my HuhWhat. Oh, sorry. I'm having my computers give me some warnings over here, and I'm like, am I about to lose the show? Okay. All right. We got to hurry up because I don't know if my computer might be tripping here in a minute.
Okie dokie. So let's talk Martin. So Ari Lennox, the R&B artist, recently shared her thoughts on the jokes aimed at Pam, Tashina Arnold's character, on the sitcom Martin. The Grammy-writing singer said, "The thing that pissed me off about Martin was how much he was going in on Pam." She added that Pam was so beautiful and fine, but growing up as a dark-skinned girl, she felt those jokes made it hard to fully appreciate her. And we can go into it. We all know the show Martin. If you don't know the show Martin, that means you're too young to be listening to this podcast, and you probably need to go find something to do.
It's one of the top syndicated shows, BET, or where it's everywhere. Martin just pops up when you're scrolling. But go ahead.
But she's faced a lot of backlash for this, and I feel like it is rightfully so. She has zero idea what she is talking about. Right. Martin and Pam went after each other. That was part of the gag.
The whole show was a gag. It was all about going after I don't want to say cockroach, but that's R.I.P. to Theo. That's Cosby Show. But and so there's so much. That show was all about everybody going at each other. And so for her to come out here talking about, he going after her because she's dark skinned. He went after his own wife because her head was big. He went after Tommy because Tommy ain't had no job. He
never made jokes about Pam being dark skinned. People are actually now going back and watching the series. Like, did he ever make a joke about her color? And he never did. He called her Beady Bees about her having, I guess, nappy hair under her weave. Okay, that's fine. Right. It's like his wife. He talked about his wife's weave, hair, light skin, red bone, all kinds of stuff. He talked about her breath being bad.
Right. That he just clowned. It was the dozens. It was New Age Sanford and Son. It was, it was a whole series of Fred and Esther. It was hilarious. You know, and for her to sit up here and say, people are always looking for reasons to have beef, and it's wild to me.
Here's my
Go
question
ahead.
for you, because I actually want to give you this question. Do
Mhm.
you think this generation is looking for trauma in everything?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We are built as a society on conflict. It is the reason, you know, going back to, is the reason we have what we have in the White House right now. We are built on conflict. The simplest of things, we got to have a problem with each other. And this is a series that's gotten people. It's Martin, man.
Martin.
It's Martin. Like, come on now. It's like Martin is one of the greatest television shows in the history of Black entertainment. And you go back 30 years, and here's the thing. If you go back 30 years to when that show was on the air, the whole colorism was a conversation. It was light skin, dark skin. But it was never a conversation on that show. It wasn't as if Pam was just a victim. Pam got as many jokes off on Martin as Martin got off on her.
On everybody.
She
got it on Tina, about Dayton Martin, about Tommy, about I forgot the other character's name.
About Cole and everybody. You know, all the different characters, Shanae and everybody. It was one of the best television shows. Clearly, and here's how you know it's one of the best television shows in history of television. Because it's still on TV. In 2025, it's still in heavy rotation on TV because it was so well done. And so, you know.
And I feel bad for Ari Lennox because she's really sticking by this. She's really just like, I said what I said, and, you know, I really feel this way, and you guys aren't looking at it from the same lens as the dark-skinned woman. And I'm like, but they're dark-skinned women right now who are telling you, we don't know what you're talking about. Not with this show.
Right.
If you were maybe talking about another show, sure. But this show, colorism, not so much.
There's a market for everything and everybody, and she's showing us with this deal. And so, Ari Lennox, I hope you got the, you know, you don't even need 5 minutes of fame, girl. You famous. You know, you out here. People know who you are. People love your music. People love your persona. The whole nine. Leave Martin alone. We not rocking with you when it comes down to that. All right, let's move on. You had something else in What did you want to talk about?
Next story is there are penises flying everywhere. There's penises galore flying in the ceilings of WNBA games. The incidents have drawn outrage from players and fans of the league already subjected to continuous racist and misogynistic attacks online. So what happens is cryptocurrency backers claim responsibility for sex toys being thrown at WNBA games. A group of crypto investors is claiming responsibility for a series of incidents where green sex toys were tossed onto WNBA coins, adding a strange wrinkle to an already charged furor that casts a shadow over the league. So WNBA games in Atlanta, Brooklyn, Chicago, Los Angeles, and Phoenix have seen bright green penises thrown onto the hardwood during play. It's wild, it's disrespectful, and they would never do this at an NBA game.
They absolutely would not. And
exactly. That's the problem that I'm having. Not absolutely. Your protest, your location of your protest. You would never do this at an NBA game where you could clearly do it. It's the same setup as a WNBA game. It gets your message across just the same, but you're not going to do that because one, you probably get jumped. Two, you have respect for male players and you don't have respect for female players. And it's tacky.
It's absolutely tacky. It's disrespectful, and it's largely disrespectful to the LGBTQ community because this is what this is about. This is about disrespecting these women because there's a large contingency of women who are LGBTQ in the WNBA. And when you see the comments, when you see a lot of stuff that goes around the conversations around Caitlin Clark or anybody, if it's Angel Reese or any of the WNBA, there's so many men that are in the comment and they're making extremely misogynistic and disrespectful comments because of these women's sexual preferences, and it's disgusting.
And they keep saying, and the company who's did it, even though they won't show their identity, are saying, "Oh, it had nothing to do with misogyny or racism." Then why choose a dildo? You guys could be throwing green labubus, which are very popular right now. You know what a labubu is, right?
I have no idea what a labubu is.
So Labubu is now it's a little plush toy that hangs on the bag of the designer bags. Like if you have an Hermes,
Oh, is that
if
the
you
one that's
have
supposed to
a
be devil
Prada,
worshiping signs or whatever? I think people are saying
is
it's
that what people just
yeah,
making up stuff. Anyway, it's
yeah,
a dumb little doll.
yeah.
It's Beanie Babies for rich people. But y'all could have thrown buckets of Labubus onto the court. It would have been annoying, got your point across. It could have been all lime green, and it wouldn't have been a dildo.
Because it's their lying. It is about misogyny. It is about being sexist. The crypto guys consider being say, first of all, for crypto guys to say they're not being misogynistic is a slap in the face to all of our intelligence. Like, come on, dude. Stop, man. I done seen crypto people who have lost their marriages because they're such dickheads when it comes to
I would rather
misogyny.
say we're crypto guys, we're sober, we don't smoke weed, we don't do coke. That would be more believable than what they're trying to
Then you
sell
telling me that this wasn't about misogyny. All right. Before we get up out of here, what are you watching?
Okay, so I know
ahead.
you and Tracy have been super busy, but I gotta ask: have you seen Superman?
No. If I were to go see Superman, that would be me going to see Superman, taking the girls to go to Superman. Tracy's not going to see Superman. Not gonna happen.
Fantastic Four?
That's worse than Superman. No, I would. She would look at me like I was crazy if I said, "Hey, babe, let's go to the movies, go see Fantastic Four." She'll hit me with the peace sign, go grab her a glass of wine, and go grab the remote. No, haven't seen it either. I'll eventually go see them. I heard they're decent. I'm really disappointed with most superhero movies after whatever the last Avenger was. Was it Endgame? Was that the last one in the last series or the last whatever?
The last one.
Since Endgame, I pretty much think most of these have sucked. They've really, maybe because I'm maturing, maybe I'm just out of the demo, and that was the end of my existence in the demo of that. I don't know. Black Panther 2 was decent. I was emotional coming off of Chad. That was. But then when I watched it, I was like, they're having a whole battle on the ship. Nobody falling off the side.
You didn't like Black Captain America? Negro Bird? You didn't like Negro Bird?
Isn't that the one with Harrison Ford as the Red Hulk? Is that?
Really quick, Harrison Ford was only Red Hulk because the original character died in real life and they needed a white man to replace him. And Harrison Ford was the closest lookalike to the guy.
Okay, I need further explanation on that. So there was somebody who's supposed to play the Red Hulk who would,
in all of the Avenger movies, there's that general who's always like, I'm going to catch you guys because you guys are, the one who started the Sokovia Accords, that white guy who's been in all those movies. He died in real life because he was supposed to finally get his big moment as being Red Hulk, being president and that whole thing. But because he died so suddenly, they had to find somebody. And Harrison Ford is the person who is the most believable and looks the most like him. That's why they chose him to play that role. They did not want Harrison Ford didn't jump up and go, "Hey, I want to do this." He just happened to fit
because he's pretty old, and I'm pretty sure the check was big enough. He said, "Let's do it," because you guys are about to write a big check. But send me that person, whoever it is. All right, what else you watching?
Nothing. Apparently, you ain't watching nothing. What you got?
All right, so we're watching. So The Chi just wrapped up a couple weeks ago. I just question, I'm just gonna start questioning your blackness because you ain't watching.
I have Showtime, so there's that.
No, I'm joking. But The Chi ended, and we had I forgot her name, who we all love, thin line between love and hate. What's her name?
Oh, Lynn Whitfield.
Lynn Whitfield was on there for a season and a half or 2 seasons, and she ended up catching her demise at the end of the season, so she's out of here. So The Chi, which is nowhere near what it started to have to be 7-8 years ago, it's a totally different show now. So we finish that up. We're watching this other show called Smoke that's on Apple TV.
Someone said that's really good, and I haven't gotten into it yet.
It is good. Apple TV, because I think they got all the money in the world, they take their time in telling their stories. They take 2-3 episodes to get you. And they pretty much know if you don't watch, don't give a damn, you're still gonna pay your Apple bill. So we gonna watch it.
You're right, because I realized I did watch a couple of things. I watched The Buccaneers, which is not your type of show, not even a little bit.
Doesn't sound like it at all. Yeah.
It's not. It's basically Bridgerton and the Gilded Age smashed together. It's that.
Here's the thing though. I actually watched The Gilded Age with Trey. We try to start watching it again. It hasn't grabbed me yet. Bridgerton, no, I haven't done Bridgerton. No, I
No,
put my
when you
foot
get,
down
are
on
you?
Bridgerton.
What season are you guys on? Season 2, season 1 for of the Gilded Age?
Whatever's the latest. It's only 2 seasons, right?
No, it's 3 seasons.
Okay, then the 3rd season is out. So that's what's kind of out there. I think we
So
watched
Felicia
like one
Rashad,
episode.
you watch Felicia Rashad in her role right now?
No.
Oh, see,
No.
you need to get to season 3 because it's trending all. This is probably Gilded Age is probably the best show that did diversity in a way that is good, not thrown in there, and not disrespectful to either side. They show the rich black elite of Newport and the rich white people over there on Fifth Avenue. Felicia Rashad is evil in this.
Okay.
I've never seen her play an evil role, and you'll love it when you get to
Here's
that
what
point,
we do
so.
know about Felicia Rashad. Them Cosby show checks definitely have dried up because she's been working a lot the last 5 years. She done been on a lot of stuff. She was actually in The Chi. Felicia Rashad was in The Chi. The reason for you to watch The Chi now, see, because Felicia Rashad's in there. But she's been working a lot.
You.
She's been working a lot. We're watching, so Smoke is good. It's got Smollett in there. Smollett. Which one is it?
Journey Smollett.
Is it Journey Smollett?
Yes,
Is it Smollett or just Smollett? Which one is it? We don't
It's
know. Smollett. All right, so she's in it, and she plays a cop, and like I think the season finale would be this week. We're watching BMF, which you're not watching that either. We're also watching. I just started watching. We're trying to keep. I'm surprised that Trey hadn't caught her attention yet. But The Residents. Oh, on
Netflix?
With Crazy Eyes, yeah.
Yes, so, it's very good. You guys are way late, but it's very good.
Yeah. So we're watching that. I think we're about 4 or 5 episodes in. We just saw the episode with the crazy black girl butler, and we caught all her craziness. So
that's me.
Please don't ever say that again.
I'm just kidding. I'm just joking. When I watched, I was like, so y'all found the quintessential hood girl who got a good job? Like, that's who that is. Like, we all know her in real life.
Anyway, I'm not gonna say what I was gonna say. All right, so anyway, that's it. All right, so we should be back next week. Busy, season is over per se, but the girls somehow I'm still in basketball mode. Michelle had a tournament a little showcase this past weekend. Layla's playing flag football, so can't stop, won't stop, can't stop, won't stop. Oh, can I do Diddy references right now? Oh, by the way, and it is on the table. I told you, I don't do that. I told you so, but I told you so. There's conversation around Trump pardoning Sean Diddy Combs. So
that's not news. I heard that too.
But I told you when I said on the show, you was like, no, he's not going to do that. Why would he do that? Peace and a bye-bye.